Today, we're digging into the story of Xi Jinping, who is, without a doubt, the most powerful leader in modern China. Now, you've probably seen the official portraits and heard all the grand titles. But the real story, the one about how he actually got to the top, well, that's way more dramatic and complicated than you might think. So, let's get into it.
And that's really the central question here, isn't it? Because to truly understand where China is heading today, you have to understand the journey of the man in charge. And believe me, it's a journey of incredible highs and some absolutely devastating lows.
This right here, this contrast says it all. On one side, you have the public image, right? The visionary, the disciplined leader who's in total control of everything. But then, there's the untold reality of his past. A story filled with political purges, brutal hard labor, and some really treacherous rivalries. The real story, the one that truly matters, is found right in the gap between those two worlds.
To really get a grip on his fall, we first have to understand just how privileged he was. See, Xi Jinping's story doesn't start in poverty, not at all. It begins right at the very heart of China's Communist Party elite.
He was born into what many call the Red Aristocracy. These are the founding families of Communist China. His father wasn't just anybody. He was a revolutionary hero and a vice premier. This meant Xi had a childhood of comfort, of high expectations, all inside the exclusive compounds where China's top leaders lived. He was a true princeling, a kid born at the very top of the party.
And just like that, it was all gone. The political winds shifted, hard and fast, and the world his family had always known was completely torn apart.
Okay, so now we're moving into what is maybe the single most formative period of his entire life. And this wasn't just a bump in the road, it was an ordeal that would fundamentally remake him, not just as a person, but as the leader he would one day become.
The fall from grace was unbelievably fast and brutal. During the chaos of the Cultural Revolution, this decade-long storm of political upheaval, his father was purged. He was publicly denounced as an enemy of the party. And as a result, at just 15 years old, Xi Jinping was shipped out from the capital to the remote countryside for so-called re-education through manual labor.
For 7 years. Let that sink in. For 7 years, he lived in a literal cave dwelling in a poor rural village called Liangjiahe. He had to deal with harsh weather, constant food shortages, and absolutely back-breaking work. His entire world was turned upside down.
Now here's the crucial takeaway. Those 7 years weren't just about surviving. They were a crucible. This experience, as many analysts point out, is what forged the very traits that would later power his comeback: an incredible sense of resilience, an ironclad discipline, and a deep understanding of political survival.
In this next chapter, we see how he puts all that to use. After the chaos was over, Xi began his journey back. But this was no sprint to the top. It was a slow, incredibly patient, and methodical climb right back up the party ladder.
For more than 2 decades, he just moved step by step through the ranks. He started out in local government in Hebei, learning the nuts and bolts of the bureaucracy. Then he went to Fujian, getting experience in a booming coastal economy. And after that, to Zhejiang, where he really cemented his reputation as a capable leader. He was absolutely playing the long game.
And during this long climb, he was very carefully building a specific kind of reputation. He wasn't some flashy, loud ideologue. No, he was seen as a pragmatist. He led anti-corruption campaigns, which showed he was both loyal and tough. And all the while, he was quietly building a powerful network and learning how to navigate the very dangerous currents of party politics.
Then, in 2008, that was the moment. After decades of all this patient, under-the-radar work, his strategy paid off in a huge way. He was named vice president, which put him on the national stage and directly in line for the top job.
You know, getting to the top in 2012 was one thing, but staying there and gathering more power than anyone had in decades, well, that was a whole other challenge. This next phase was all about cementing his rule with absolute, unquestionable certainty.
And his strategy for doing this was multi-layered. He launched a massive anti-corruption campaign that, yes, tackled real graft, but also conveniently targeted his political rivals. He got rid of presidential term limits, which cleared the path for him to rule for as long as he wants. He centralized power, making himself the undisputed core of the party. And on the world stage, his Belt and Road Initiative massively expanded China's global influence. Every single move was a calculated step to lock down his authority.
The result of all this systematic work is just undeniable. He totally transformed the presidency and became China's most powerful and influential leader since its founding revolutionaries. And that brings us to today. Every one of these experiences, the early privilege, the brutal purge, the years of hardship, that patient climb, and the final consolidation of power, all of it has shaped the man who is now the architect of modern China.
But his leadership is definitely not without some huge challenges. I mean, he's navigating intense trade tensions, a slowing economy at home, fierce global competition, and the constant pressure to maintain social stability. All those skills that were forged in his difficult past are now being put to the test on a global scale. When you step back, the sheer scale of his journey is just staggering. Think about it. From a teenager forced to live in a cave in a forgotten village, to the man now presiding over the entire nation from the Great Hall of the People. It's an incredible story of resilience, of strategy, and of just immense political will.
And this leaves us with one final big thought. His personal history has profoundly shaped the China we see today. The real question now is, what will the legacy of this incredibly complex journey mean for the future of China and for the rest of the world?